Hello friends, welcome to Electronic Circuit Hub. So today we are going to learn about the DCM Flyback Transformer design. So how you're gonna calculate, how you're gonna design step by step DCM Flyback Transformer, how you're gonna select the transformer core, how you're gonna select the wire gauge, and how you're gonna completely design your flyback transformer in the DCM mode. If I say the DCM mode, that means it is discontinuous conduction mode, and you can also say it as complete energy transfer mode. It is complete energy transfer mode. We are going to design the DCM flyback transformer. In order to design the DCM flyback transformer, we are going to follow some steps, and I have written the formula here. I have used Excel sheet, and I'm going to show you how you're gonna design, how you're gonna select the core, how you're gonna select the wire gauge, how you're gonna wind it, what is going to be your primary peak current, what is going to be a secondary current, what is the magnetizing inductance, okay, and how many number of turns you are going to do. This all the things I'm going to explain in today's video. So let us get started, and let us start with the input specification. This is very important. You understand what is your design requirement, for what you want to design the flyback transformer. Okay, so what is input specification? This I am showing you just for demonstration purpose. Based on your input specification, you have to design the transformer, right? So what is the frequency is 20 kilohertz, the output voltage is 12 volt, I naught is 3 ampere, VR, right? Ripple, output ripple voltage. What do you understand by VR? This is the ripple, output ripple voltage, which is 1% of my output voltage, which is 120 millivolt. What is VD? VD stands for secondary rectifier diode, and I'm considering the diode voltage drop, which is 1.5 volt for my calculation. What is the VCC nominal? The input voltage nominal, which is 24 volt DC, and the minimum input voltage 21.6 volt DC, and the maximum input voltage is 26.4 volt DC, and I'm considering the variation of 10% in the input voltage. Okay, so if you look at this specification, is I want to design DC to DC converter with the help of flyback topology, and I want to convert from 24 volt to 12 volt 3 ampere output. That means 36 watt power supply design. 24 volt DC is my input, and 12 volt 3 ampere is my output, and I want isolated power supply. That is why I'm using the flyback topology, right? What is the efficiency I'm going to achieve is 80%. I'm targeting to achieve the efficiency of 80%, let's say. So now the second step is, after knowing your design specification, you can plug these values in your as per your design requirement in your Excel sheet. Okay, and what is duty? Then the second step is calculating the maximum duty and the turns ratio. So what if you see here is the duty cycle maximum, D max. For flyback converter, I'm using the maximum duty cycle. The maximum duty cycle could be 50% in the flyback converter. It should not more than 50%. Otherwise, your core is not going to reset. Your core is not going to reset, and there will be a residual flux in your core, and then it will saturate. Your core will saturate soon. Right, so that's why I'm considering maximum it could be 50%. I'm considering 0.45% the duty cycle, so that I have enough core reset time. Okay, now n is the number of tons, and how I'm calculating the number of tons, I'm using this formula. N is the number of tons, which is N2 divided by N1, and given by V output plus output diode drop divided by the V input minimum, and multiply by 1 minus d max divided by d max. If you plug all the values here, since I'm using Excel, I can directly get this 0.674. So this is my input to output turns ratio. N equals to N2 divided by N1. That means your N2 is going to be turns ratio multiplied by N1. So I'm using this expression to calculate this turns ratio. Now the second step is I'm also going to calculate the duty cycle minimum. What is going to be my minimum duty cycle? And the minimum duty cycle is given by d max divided by d max plus 1 minus d max multiplied by the input voltage maximum divided by the minimum input voltage. This gives me the duty cycle of minimum. That means I'm operating my flyback converter from 0.4% duty, 40% duty to 45% duty, zero point 0.4 to 0.45. Now, let us understand the peak current calculation for your transformer. And the in order to, since I am designing the flyback transformer in DCM mode, so you need to understand some fundamental. What is the DCM mode? So if I go here, if you look at, this is the flyback converter, basic block of the flyback converter, wherein you have the primary side and the switch here. You have the secondary side and the diode, output capacitor, and the load. So what you see here is this is my I1. I1 means the primary peak current, or the magnetizing current, you can also say magnetizing current. Both are the same in case of the flyback converter. So my I1 for DCM and CCM mode, if you look at here, for DCM mode, my I1 is starting with some value. Okay, what is going to happen in the DCM mode? In the DCM mode is equals to, if you correlate this with the line equation. Okay, so this your DCM mode is y equals to mx. Understand very carefully this, what is the difference between DCM and CCM. What I'm trying to say is, your DCM means discontinuous conduction mode, means if you, this is simply the linear rise of your straight line. Okay, so if you look at here, for DCM, y equals to mx, and for CCM this is y equals to mx plus c. You have the constant term in the CCM mode. Okay, so the design of the flyback converter in the CCM mode will be different. It is not going to be same. So what you see here in here, what you see here is, in the DCM mode, your primary peak current I1 is starting from 0, and it then attain to peak value. It reaches to the peak value, right? And in the CCM mode, it has some residual flux. It start with the constant. So that is why I'm saying that your in DCM mode, your straight line equation is, the peak current equation is y equals to mx. There is no constant. And in CCM mode, you have y equals to mx plus c, wherein you have this constant. So in order to understand the factor, normalized ripple factor, because for the next switching cycle, you want your current to be 0. So in the DCM mode, your normalized ripple factor is going to be 1. So I have considered this one. And your maximum, the flux density, right? The core flux density, I'm considering 0.2 Tesla for ferrite cores, high frequency ferrite cores. And then you have to also consider what we saw, that in case of my DCM, my if you look at the flux as well, in case of the DCM, the flux, every cycle, every switching cycle, your flux start from 0, it reaches to the maximum flux, and it again reset to the 0. What you see in the DCM mode. But in the CCM mode, what you see is flux. It has your transformer has some residual flux, already some residual flux, and then that transformer start from that residual flux, and it reaches to the peak flux value. Then again it reset to, at some extent value, I talked about the constant c, and then the same cycle repeats. So what you see here is, for the DCM mode transformer, you you have to consider that flux swing. Delta Bm is nothing but the flux density or the flux swing in your transformer. It is going to be the B delta IM, the normalized ripple current multiplied by the BM, maximum flux density, is going to give you the flux swing. That's so I'm considering here 0.2. Now I1, what is the I1? So I1, and let's calculate the I1. So I1 plus, if you look at here, this the formula for I1 plus is 2 times of number of turns into output current divided by duty cycle minimum, and total divided by 2 minus delta IN. And if you replace all the value here, I'm getting the I1 is 11.43 ampere. So what you see here is your load current is only 3 ampere, right? Your load current is 3 ampere, but your primary peak current for this is 11.3. Then I'm multiplying here the uh, delta I peak, the change in your current, it is from 0 to 11 point. I'm multiplying with the I1 plus multiplying with the normalized ripple current, so it is coming around 11.43, same as your I1 plus. And your secondary peak current delta I2, I am going to calculate. So delta I2 is going to be delta I1 divided by N. So delta I1 is 11.43, number of turns is this, is going to give you the delta I2 peak current. So this is coming around 14.96 ampere, that is 15 ampere. Can you see the peak current? In order to deliver the 3 ampere of average current in DCM mode, your secondary peak current is going to be, right, you're going to be 15 amperes. Now I want to calculate the apparent transformer power. So the transformer power is not going to be as same as your load. The apparent transformer power is given by the formula. It is given by the formula V naught plus Vd multiplied by I naught divided by 1 minus D minimum divided by D minimum. So this gives 60.5 watt. Okay, so it's not watt, you can write it in its apparent power, so it is VA. So your transformer apparent power is going to be 60.5 VA. Now I want to calculate the core area product. I'm using area product approach to design the transformer. So now I'm going to calculate the area product, the core area, required core area is going to be P naught 2. That means apparent power multiplied by 1 divided by efficiency square root of 4 duties cycle divided by 3 plus square root of 4 multiplied by 1 minus duty divided by 3 and whole divided by kW. J means current density, B is maximum flux, and Fs is the switching frequency. If you put all the numbers here, what I'm getting here, the area product which is coming is around 20,997.5, and this is in mm to power 4. The area product is given in the mm to power 4, and based on this area product, now what I'm doing, I'm selecting the core. Let's say I have selected the core A E42-21-9, and now what you see that the selected core area product is 27,390 mm to the power 4. My required area product is this, right? But my selected area product is this. Now once you select the core, you have to note down your cross sectional area AC and the window area AW. So you have to note down this value, all the three value. This is nothing but AP, this is AC, and this is AW, right? Now the next step is you have to now calculate the primary and secondary number of turns. How you gonna calculate the primary and secondary number of turns? That is N1 and N2, right? N1 and N2, and your N1 is given by VCC minimum, that input voltage minimum multiplied by duty minimum, and the whole divided by the cross section area, the maximum flux density, and into the switching frequency. If you put all this value, I'm getting the primary number of turns is 20 turns, and in order to calculate the secondary number of turns, you have to multiply by your turns ratio, which is coming around 0.76. Here we calculated 0.76 and multiply by primary number of turns will give you the secondary number of turns. So we are good. We have the 25 primary turns and we have uh, 20 secondary turns. Now you have to design the wire gauge. How you gonna design the wire gauge? So you have to calculate the secondary RMS current and the primary RMS current. So guys, make sure that we select the wire gauge based on the RMS current, not based on the peak current, because peak current, if you look at here, we have the 15 amps and 14 12 amps, right? 15 amps and 12 amps, which is very high, but you have to calculate the RMS current in order to select the wire gauge. And how you gonna calculate the RMS current? RMS current is given by, you have to, this is the secondary RMS current, this is the primary RMS current, and 1 minus D max divided by 3, and then you have delta I square plus 3 by 4 plus 2 naught. This is the formula you can use, and then you can calculate the RMS current. So RMS current is coming around, let's see, 5.16 for secondary, 4.07 for primary, and based on that, the you can calculate the wire gauge based on your RMS current, and then you can calculate the wire gauge by with the help of A1 is the wire gauge is I1 IRMS divided by current density, and the I2 RMS divided by current density, and current density I've considered as this. If you look at here, uh, 3 into 10 to the power 6. My current density is 3 into 10 to the power 6. Then I found the wire gauge here. I found the wire size. It's not wire gauge, it's a wire size, which is 1.36 millimeter square, and this is 1.72 millimeter square. And for that you can select the 17 SWG wire gauge and 16 SWG standard wire gauge. Okay, now you have to calculate the KWAW available. So KWAW means you have the window area, and if you multiply by the window factor I choose here 0.4 because of the insulation of your wire, the coil former thickness, all the losses considering, I'm considering the window area means how much area you are utilizing for winding. It is around 40% only, so I'm considering here 40%. So you can calculate the KWAW. We have already got window area S, and then you can multiply by KW. I'm getting 108. So KWAW available is 108 and KWAW calculated. So how you gonna calculate the KWAW? So to calculate the KWAW, very simple formula. I'll go here to calculate the, it's not there. To calculate the KWAW, you have to multiply primary number of turns multiply by the wire size here, primary wire size, and the secondary number of turns multiply by the secondary wire size will give you the calculated KWAW. That means your calculated value is 68 and this is 108. Available is 108. That means you are able to bound the transformer. Last step is I'm going to calculate the LP, the primary inductance. What is going to be your primary inductance? To calculate the primary inductance, you can use simple formula that L1 equals to the minimum input voltage divided by maximum duty, and uh, minimum input voltage multiply by maximum duty and divide by the primary peak current multiply by frequency. This give you the inductance, primary inductance, which is coming around 42.52 microhenry, 42.52 microhenry. And since this is flyback transformer, you need to have the air gap. You want to calculate the air gap, and air gap is given by Lg. Lg equals to mu naught N1 square AC divided by L1, and this gives you the value of 1.98 mm. That means you can use 2 mm thickness, right, for air gap. Mylar paper of 2 mm thickness, you can use it. Okay, so hope guys you have understood how you're going to design the DCM flyback transformer with the help of example. If you have any further question, you want this Excel sheet, please let me know. Thank you so much.